So it's been 1 week, 1 week and a day since I dropped off the Corvette. So obviously I'm back in it, and evidently the fix is this part that bypasses. Well, let me back up. They removed the lock plate that locks the steering wheel. You know, when you turn your car off, prevent the wheel from turning left to right. That gets removed, and the fix is a bypass that I guess replaces it. I don't know the point of the bypass. If you're removing the lock plate entirely, I guess something needs to go there in its place. He didn't show me the part, and to be honest with you, I really didn't ask. I was just excited to get back in the Corvette. The Denali was nice. If you didn't see, I did a review of it. I'll leave the link for the review below in the notes. But it is nice to be back in the Corvette. Alright, so the big question, did they charge me? The answer is no. I thought I was getting charged. I signed this piece of paper that I was looking at the numbers. Before I can see what the total due was, they told me they're covering everything. However, I still needed to sign, but that's no problem with me. I mean, I didn't give them any form of payment, so they couldn't charge me. But I did see something on there for $126. I can only assume it was labor, because I'm sure the part didn't cost $126. I do have in the glove box, I'm told, a copy of the work order, which I'll go ahead and update later on in this video. So it could just be me coming out of a much larger Denali into a, wow, look at that, a broken down Bentley. I don't know if you see that. It's kind of crazy. Look, nice. It was wrapped in like a pearl white. I don't know. I feel bad. I'm on the way back to work, so I can't stop for them. But the car doesn't feel the same. And again, it could just be a mental thing, and I'm sure it is. But you know, I daily drive this Corvette, with the exception of the last week. So you're talking 6-7 months now that I've had this Z06, and day in, day out. But the way I can describe it is, if any of you have ever had a car where you know, the axle's broken, maybe that's not a good example, but it feels very loose. You know, swaying kind of left or right, like the ass end is loose. But I've been playing around with it, you know, merging on the traffic, you know, making the some of these harder left and right hand turns where you could really pick up if something is definitively wrong, and I'm not noticing anything. So again, it could just be a mental thing. However, when I'm driving straight, just the slightest touch left and right, just doesn't feel the same. You know, another critique that I have is kind of just the sloppiness. You know, I know in the first video I posted, I was venting about my experience with Chevy just from a customer service standpoint. But now that I've picked up the car, you know, they adjusted my seat, they moved it all around, no big deal. I had to play around with that. I know in the car business, when I used to work in the car business, we try to do our best to, you know, get it back to the consumer settings, or you save the settings. Most modern cars, as well as this one, have memory seats, and you know, it's nothing but saving their position before you go in there and adjust it. So I don't know, maybe just a small, I could just be nitpicking at this point, but also, you know, I have this like all-weather floor mat. It's not the nice WeatherTechs that are cut to fit, but form-fitting, the word I was looking for. But you know, they had it all kind of just pushed off to the side. I mean, very sloppy looking. You know, I'm looking around the car and I'm seeing dust and dirt. I could see where they had sweat, meaning that the dirt is sort of, it's got sort of a puddle. It's dried up now, of course, but kind of a puddled dirt look. So you know, sweat dripped onto some dirt, you know, and dried up. So it's having the residual effect of that. I'm even seeing grease marks on my windshield because evidently, I'm told, they had to rip apart the steering column and part of my dash in order to access the column lock mechanism, or I guess easily access the mechanism, so they can remove it and put the new one on. So I could see where, you know, it looks like maybe the knuckles, you know, grazed the windshield of grease, or the part of a dash or something hit the windshield. So I'm seeing several spots of that. I mean, they even changed my mirrors, you know, I mean, come on. So, I mean, just sloppiness. And again, yeah, I didn't expect them to do a full-on detail. I didn't expect them to do any detail. But, you know, if you're doing this kind of stuff, you know, you want to make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself. And I think that if nothing else is just common courtesy, let alone the fact that you're a professional business, I'm sure wanting to continue to earn the business of a Chevy owner. You know, and the other thing I thought was surprising was, I thought by giving me the Denali, they'd be looking for like a sales pitch in there, you know, your time to trade it in, you know, how'd you like the truck? However, no, the sales advisor, he wasn't a salesman, he was like a floor leader, I don't know what he was. Literally just took the keys from me. I don't even know that he greeted me. I kind of walked up, had the keys in my hand, recognized them, and kind of just took them over from me, and that was it, you know. So the experience is, again, I might be beating a dead horse at this point, but it was definitely not what you would expect. And to be fair, I am comparing it to, you know, all the other car experience that I've had. I want to say, I was joking around a couple of weeks ago before the Corvette went down, and somebody was asking me about, you know, the cars I've owned, and, you know, we were just having a casual conversation. And I've owned, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 cars in the last 2.5 years. So I've been to numerous car dealerships. I've had the experience more than most people probably. And that's just the last 2 years. We'll call it less than 3. You know, so I mean, you expand that out to 5-6 years, you know, you add several more cars in there. Not to mention, I worked in the industry for a short time, so I mean, I kind of understand the standard. Now that I worked in luxury vehicles, where of course standard is a if it's not #1 priority, it's #2. You know, maybe second to sales, but you know, I have a fair sampling of comparisons. This is a large Chevy dealership located in a really good part of town, a very high traffic town, and I think their motto or their slogan is striving to be #1 in the Atlanta market, you know, something along that effect. And I'm trying not to give too much away, because I really don't want to give them a plug, because I'm not knocking them. I am thankful for what they have done. I don't want to come off as just complaining. But at the same time, I can't say that I did expect more.